Dating after 60. Fun, isn't it? It's not particularly fun from my perspective. And of course, I never really liked the whole dating thing to begin with. I don't know. I always felt kind of awkward and, it's like tongue tied. What do you say? And I'm generally not someone who is at a loss for words, at least not once you get to know me. It's like, God, will he ever shut up? I remember years ago going on dates and I don't know, God, I felt uncomfortable and I'm sure that translated across to the person on the other side of the table. And now it has changed dramatically. I mean, we've got all these apps and people, and not to suggest that the people have changed entirely, but they have changed considerably too, I think. I think that there's a movement away from the traditional, and I mean, I know that the whole gay thing is not what most people consider traditional, but I'm talking about the tradition of monogamy and fidelity and two individuals. Now we have thruples and and quadruples and sextuplets and I mean I don't know, just flat out orgies. And if that works for you, hey, it's all right with me. I don't really care, but it's not what I do. But it has changed dramatically. You can download an app and be out there, um, available to everyone in the world. And I mean, there's a good part of that, but it's also very easy to, or should I say, much easier, it seems to me like, to kind of get into the sleaze end of things. And I'm just not into that. I am fearful because I don't want to catch anything. I mean, so that's one thing. I already have herpes, right? So I don't need anything else. And after the experience that I had with my most recent ex, especially, I'm finding it hard to trust again. And I think that's a very normal response to being lied to and cheated on and all of that. And so, in the whole dating thing, that plays out too. And sometimes I sit in my recliner, the same recliner, by the way, that I used to glance across the living room and see my ex communicating with his sleazy hookups. It is very hard to trust after all of that. And I asked myself frequently, even if I met Mr. Wonderful, right, would I be able to trust that individual? I mean, I want to, believe me, I want to. I want to say that, yeah, I would be able to trust whoever. But could I really? I don't know. I don't know. How do you handle those things? Do you give trust easily? I mean, I have tried to throughout my life, but the older that you get and the more life experience that you have had, at least for me, I find it difficult to do that, especially now. My perspective has changed on that and some other things. I mean, I I've always believed in the whole monogamy, fidelity thing, and being with one person for life, right? It's just kind of been my thing. I just believe in the till death do us part thing, and that's what I want. But I don't know. I wonder if that's even feasible these days because so many people seem to believe in something very different than that, especially the younger crowd. And I I don't know. I don't know. My perspective is different than it used to be, I guess, a little bit, but actually not a whole lot, because I still want that one person. I don't want everyone in town, but um, I think that in light of the things that I went through with the last one, that the red flags are easier to spot. I never thought that I would experience the whole neglect and withholding of intimacy thing. I've never had anybody do that to me before. And God knows my ex from '02 was always ready, right? And so there was never a problem in that department. But if I ran into that again, yeah, that's definitely a red flag for me. And I think, again, I'm not a medical professional or anything like that. I can only tell you my own experience. But if you're running into that, you really probably ought to sit down and have a talk with yourself, because if someone is neglecting you in the intimacy department, I don't care, gay, straight, white, black, interracial, whatever it is, right? If you're being neglected in that way, unless there's some medical reason, then you know you need to figure that out and probably need to end the relationship, because that's not a normal circumstance. It's just not normal. Now, maybe they're going through a midlife crisis or whatever, and I get that. But at some point, you have to resolve that and move forward and either stay in the relationship or not. But being neglected by someone, it's just not cool. Other red flags, well, I mean, everybody knows the red flag of gee, my other half is on the cell phone all the time, and they're texting and all of that. And all of those things were happening. They were happening. So I've learned that. Let's see, what else have I learned? Points to ponder, right? I've always, I think, stayed a little longer at the fair than I should have. I did with the ex from '02. We had, what did my mother call it? An intense relationship. And we shouldn't have been together as long as we did, but we both kept trying. And, so there's nothing wrong with that. I get wanting to try and fix things, but it shouldn't have been. Now, the most recent ex, I mean, I don't know. I thought that we had a pretty decent relationship. I was apparently wrong. I have definitely learned that just because there is a lack of arguing and that kind of thing does not necessarily mean that you have a good relationship. If there is little to no intimacy, that's one sign that it's not all that great. Um, I spoke about it in a previous video, the flirting thing, you know, not cool. It's not cool. It shouldn't be happening. But yeah, I think those things are the biggest red flags probably that I have noticed, that I have learned, and that I wouldn't go through again. Baggage. One of the things that I see often on profiles, on the dating profiles, and the site doesn't really matter, but I've seen it a number of times. And these are people who are in their 50s, their 60s, and 40s, whatever. And they talk about, leave your baggage at home and all of that. And look, if you've been in a relationship for any length of time, if you've been, well, actually, forget the relationship part. If you have been on this planet for any length of time, you've got baggage. And that comes along with you. I mean, you don't act certain things out, I guess, but the baggage comes along with you. It's just it's just part of the package deal. I mean, now that doesn't mean that you know that you have to deal with all of the baggage. I mean, for instance, I would not want somebody who was a heavy drinker or a heavy smoker. Really, I don't particularly want someone who is a smoker. And I am a former smoker. And it's not about being a former smoker and, being some Hitlerian type that thinks that everyone else should stop smoking because I did. But I don't want to get involved with somebody and then I have to watch them die. You know what I mean? I don't. Um, and as far as drinking is concerned, I almost never drink. It's just not my thing. I don't. I've never been a heavy drinker. There were certainly times in my life that I drank a little bit more, um, but nothing of any real consequence, and it was nothing that I did with much regularity. And I would never want to be involved with the drunk. I mean, I'm sorry, I wouldn't. Same with weed and all those things. I mean, if you smoke a little bit or you drink a little bit, I'm okay with that. But if you are some falling down drunk, I mean, you have to drink every single night of your life. We're probably not a match. You know what I mean? I would much prefer somebody who has a little nip here and there, uh, but I'm looking for somebody who wants to get up off of their ass, say for instance, and go out for a walk. Let's go for a walk. Let's go for a hike. I want to do something physical. And I mean, of course, that physical thing goes without saying, but I do. I want somebody who wants to do those things. And I know I've kind of veered off the main topic of the baggage, but you can't expect that people beyond a certain age aren't going to have baggage. And I mean, hell, depending on how you were raised and the household you were raised in, you might have baggage, a lot of baggage long before you reach 40. Um, I I mentioned the trusting thing earlier, and in amongst that trust and having difficulty with trusting someone else, I'm also, or excuse me, something that I think plays into that as well is the fear of hurt. Nobody wants to be hurt. Uh, I've been hurt plenty of times in my life, and I don't want to be hurt again. Now, I know that that's what's the word I'm looking for? It's an unrealistic way to be, I guess. I mean, because you get into a relationship and it's wonderful right now, and then it turns out that it's shit, right? So I don't know. I'm not trying to be unrealistic because I know these things happen, and I've been in relationships enough and I've been in them long enough to know that they're you're disappointed. I mean, no one um, is perfect. Everyone falls short. God knows I have. I mean, said that a number of times that I'm an imperfect individual, but I try to be good and decent and all of those things, but I do have that fear of hurt, and I don't want to get hurt again. And if I can avoid that, I certainly want to. Um, but I think that does play a part in the whole dating thing, at least for me. I guess some people are it's easier for them to get over things. I don't when it's regarding affairs of the heart, I don't get over that as easily. Um, I'm I'm working toward it, but it is a struggle. I mean, it is. It just is because I have a certain view of the world and a certain view of relationships and how they should be and how they should play out and all of that. And one of those things is the loyalty and fidelity thing. And I just don't, I don't cheat on people. I don't. I just don't. I never have, and I'm never going to. And that's what I'm looking for in my life. But will I ever find that? I don't know. I mean, I'm 63, rapidly approaching 64, and I don't know. A lot of a lot of guys out here in the gay world and in the straight world too. I mean, these kinds of things don't. I don't think they really um, know a boundary there. You know what I mean? The 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 gay men are oftentimes looking for much younger men. I mean, I've seen profiles up there. you know, Paul Paul is 75 years old or whatever, and he'll date somebody 18. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, okay, I get it. They're cuter and they got tighter bodies and hard all the time, whatever. But at the end of the day, there's a whole world of difference between the two of you. And I don't know, not what I would do. I'm not looking for somebody who is 20, not, just not, or 30, or probably even 40. I mean, 50 and up, I would say, would probably be where I am. Um, and I'm sure that a lot of women, they like the younger guys. I mean, I get it. I get it. Believe me, I do. I work in an area that there are a lot of younger guys, and they're hot. I mean, what can I say? They're, you know, always up for extra innings. I'm sure, but it's just not what I'm looking for. Just not, because I know that it would have its limitation, and I don't want to go through the hurt and the upset of yet another relationship breakup. I mean, I'm hoping that this next time around, providing there is a next time, I'm hoping that's going to be the final one. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I think a lot of people feel that relationships will complete them or should complete them. And I'm certainly not someone who doesn't agree with that to some degree. I mean, you know, I I'm okay at this point being alone. I don't like it. I just don't. I don't like being alone. I would much prefer to be with someone and have someone in my life and have someone to come home to and all of those things. I mean, we all kind of want that in our lives. I think most of us do. Now, there are people out here that they just don't have to have that. And I don't have to have it, but I, it's something that I want. I think more than completing someone, I think that a relationship should enhance them. I think the older you get, especially if you've been single for any length of time, you're already kind of set in, I don't want to say set in your ways. That's kind of cliche, I guess, but you are set in your ways, and you you again, if you're single, you're already established, and you have your routine, and you have, whatever hobbies that you do, and all of that. And so I think I think a lot of people they're looking for an enhancement to that. And probably a lot of people aren't necessarily looking to live together. And I don't know, I'm torn about that. I would like to live with another partner. I would still like to have someone to come home to and all of that. So the living with someone is something I'm good with. I actually want that. I welcome that. I had a point, and I completely lost that point. Another thing I wanted to touch on briefly is loneliness at this age, you know, inside and outside of a relationship. And as most of us know, especially if we've been in a relationship for any length of time, uh, that's worse than being lonely and alone, at least from my perspective. In this last arrangement that I was in, it was neglect. It was withholding of intimacy. What's the other word I'm looking for? Manipulation, and quite frankly, emotional abuse. I mean, and all of those things are hard to deal with. I I was lonely for 8 to 10 years of a 15 and a half year relationship. Not all his fault. I'm not suggesting that at all. But when you're telling someone that you love them and you really don't, and when you are withholding intimacy, I mean, because let's face it, that is a very real, I don't care, again, whether it's gay, straight, white, black, whatever. That is a very important, that's a very important part of a relationship. And that's one of the reasons that people get into relationships for that reason as well. I mean, it's a perfectly normal human response. I mean, it is. And the loneliness can really have a deep impact on you mentally, emotionally, physically, excuse me. And of course, withholding of intimacy, that has an effect on you sexually. And I mean, there's just so many things, but loneliness inside a relationship can be very, very challenging, to say the least. Loneliness when you're single is another dimension. Uh, it is definitely difficult to deal with. It is for me. Uh, Really, all I do these days is get up, go to work, come home, rinse and repeat. I mean, I take walks and I go to the gym, although I've been laxed on that for about 6 months, actually. Uh, I just kind of, I don't know, after a while, you begin to kind of lose a little hope, I mean, I hope that somewhere along the line that I will bump into the right person, but I don't know. I mean, who knows? That may never happen. It This may be the end of it. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm a pretty decent guy, and I think that somebody would be lucky to have me. Um, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I mean, I don't know. Maybe my expectations are too high. I don't. I never thought it was asking too much to have somebody that was honest and loyal and faithful. I mean, that's kind of the thing, at least in my world. Now it's changed considerably since then, as we have discussed previously, but I still think that most people want to be in a committed relationship. I mean, I'm not the fuck of the week person or every other day or whatever people do. It's just not who I am. I want one person and one person only. That's all that I require. So I don't know. The uh, the dating scene, and I'm really not much into the dating scene. I mean, I have my profile out online and I talk to some people, but a lot of them are far away. Most of them seem to be far away. I run into people who are, and when I say run into, I mean online. I read their profiles and they're married to women and they're wanting to experience it. And I'm like, you know what? Leave me the hell alone. I don't want anyone else's spouse. I don't. I do not. I do not. I do not. It isn't my thing. If other people do that and everybody's involved is happy with it, then you go for it. But it's just not who I am. I've never been that, and I can't see a point at which that I am ever going to be like that. I don't. I don't know. Maybe at some point I'll get so desperate that I have to do that. But I went through I don't know, 10 years of a 15 and a half year relationship with virtually no intimacy at all. So, I mean, I can hold out, right? But the whole dating thing is no fun. I'm sure that it's not fun for the older women. I'm sure it's no fun for people, a whole wide cross section of people 60 plus, because you look in the mirror and you're not looking as good as you used to. And when you're not getting the traffic that you expect or whatever, then you begin to doubt yourself and I don't know, put yourself down and all of that. I mean, I've had 18, 19, 20-year olds hit me up and sorry, sorry, sorry. I had this one guy, and he was a nice looking guy, hit me up. And the very first thing out of his mouth or out of his keyboard was, "Hi, Daddy." And I thought, kick rocks, because I ain't trying to be your daddy. Okay? No, no, indeed. I'm just not into that. I want somebody basically my own age. They don't have to be exactly my age, but probably 50. I think I've said this earlier, 50 and up. So another thing that you run into at this age, or at least the things that I consider, is that with the age differences, I already knew many moons ago that younger, because I used to see the dynamic between the much younger guys and the much older guys. And, I guess everybody was getting what they wanted, but it always seemed to me that the older guy was getting used, right? So I knew that dynamic. I did not really recognize the dynamic, and I never thought that I would have to, because I thought I was in a relationship that was solid and steady, and that I had somebody who loved me and cared about me and all of those things. But now, at this age, you have to be concerned about the age in the opposite direction. We're creeping towards Shady Pines, right? And so if you get somebody who is 10 years older, well, that would be somebody 73, right? And I know that there are some 73-year-olds. I've seen them. They go to the gym and they do all of these things to take care of themselves, and And I mean, God knows I try. Um, I wish that I could meet somebody that was into doing the gym and going for walks and all, and we could kind of lean on each other for motivation. But anyway, so there's that age thing too, and so I don't know. It's I never really thought about it. Like I said, I never thought I would be in this position, but it's a very, I don't know, it's a very complicated kind of thing. I think there's so many other things to consider, because if you get somebody a little too much older than you, well, then, you're going to be the caretaker and all those things. And I'm not looking to be that. I mean, certainly if I'm in a committed relationship and I have somebody that I've been with for some time and something happens to them, I would certainly do what I could to try and help them and take care of them. I would have done that with my previous ex. But I don't want to get with somebody who has a ton of health problems and all of that. And then a year later, I'm going to be playing nursemaid. So there's that whole thing. There's a lot of things to consider. But anyway, I guess that's all that I had to say. I have a little card here that I've been kind of consulting to keep me a little on track. I know I have a tendency to wander and rattle, but anyway, this is my life. I suspect that there are many people like myself out here, whether they be, same sex or whatever, that have these same issues, and it's difficult for sure. But hopefully we can all find somebody who we get along with and who will be there for us, and the love and all of that, because I think that's what most of us are looking for. We're not looking for somebody to just jump in the sack with. I don't want that. I mean, I know what sex is, and I don't need that. I want something deeper than that, more meaningful than that. And hopefully I'll find it. Hopefully you'll find it. And should you be interested, hit me up in the comments, or if you know somebody. But anyway, yeah, it was good chatting with you. Of course, I'm in the car again on my way to my parents for the weekend, or at least part of the weekend, and helping them out. So anyway, thanks very much for listening. I wish you all the best. I hope that you find the person that you're looking for, and that you're healthy, wealthy, and wise, or whatever. But anyway, thanks for listening. Have a great day. Chat with you later.